Have you ever seen the sun turn on and off?
You know, back before life hacks were a thing, the older blue-collar guys, they just called everything common knowledge.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Here we go.
One of the things politicians are always accused of is not answering questions.
Did you threaten to overrule him?
I did not overrule Derek
Did you
Lewis.
threaten to overrule him?
I took advice on what I could or could not do.
Did you threaten to overrule him, Mr. Howard?
Scrupulously in accordance with
This kind of thing is really annoying, and it makes politicians look untrustworthy and slimy. So why do they do it? Politicians all suffer from chronic job insecurity. If they say anything stupid, they could be unemployed within hours or days. That's why, if they're being interviewed on TV, on the radio, in a newspaper or in the street, one of the dangerousest things they could do is answer a question. Let me show you what could go wrong if you give a straight answer in an interview. The answer is £5,136.45. The interviewer might know more than you do. Yes, but according to this piece of paper, the figures are actually closer to £10,746,986.92. Your words can later be used against you. Yes, but in a previous interview you said a different figure, which was £4,988,702.11. You risk alienating voters. So, do you mean by that answer you just gave that you want to cut lots of jobs? Well, no, I mean... You mean you're in favour of waste? That's why politicians are scared to commit to anything. Being rumbled will make them look hypocritical, or worse, incompetent. So if you're a politician, how do you get through an interview without putting your foot in it?
Hi, I'm Peter Botting, and I actually exist. Do you want to survive the next election? Are you positively petrified of being powerfully pummeled in a partisan political probing? I can make you bulletproof. 1. Don't like the question? Change it to a different question.
Well, I think what we should be asking is...
2. Use vague yet committal vocabulary.
Look, let me be clear, interviewer's name. Robust plan.
3. Imply that the interviewer is too stupid to understand the real answer.
Well, that's a really complicated question, and we don't have all day, so let me try and explain it simply.
4. Change the subject and talk about something dreadful your opponents have done.
Let me just change the subject and talk about something dreadful our opponents have done.
And finally, 5. Give an answer that's so confusing, nobody knows if you've said anything at all.
Well, I'm glad you've raised that question, interviewer's name, so let me be clear. This is an issue that we're very concerned about, and it's about time that we stopped dithering, got round the negotiating table, got it sorted, got this right, stopped getting it wrong, and made sure that this issue doesn't get raised again, at least not during the course of our government, without asking permission first.
Look, it's important we have a robust response.
And here's the thing.
The argument, James, I'm putting is this.
That's not kind of the issue. The issue is if we sort of stand back and look at the big picture.
So stop making sense and save your skin. Call today!
It's a real pity that this man and several more like him exist. But the reason that he and his clients are so successful is because these tricks keep them out of trouble. Demonstrably. Just look at this graph. We have to face the fact that in a media increasingly driven by sound bites, where everything you say lasts forever, politicians are never going to give straight answers. Their job security matters more than their job being done effectively. So, what's the solution? There isn't one. It's naive to assume that we're owed a solution to this awful, worsening, inherently unsolvable problem. That's it. Bye.
What is this fish? What is it? That is not no fish.
Do you remember when Queen Elizabeth died and they broke her wand ceremoniously in the funeral and they laid it on top of her coffin? What many don't know is that there's leaked audio or audio that came out while they were taking her body to there, and there was a mic or something on that caught feedback or caught somebody else speaking, not just the British commentators, and it said her death was irreversible. She's trapped. And I'm going to show you that audio right now. Now, if you noticed, The guy who was speaking, he was gonna speak, and then he heard that other person speak, and he stopped. And after that other person realized that they were live on mic, they stopped. And then a few seconds later, he speaks. And nobody really knows what that means. I'm not making this up. You can go find that audio. It's still available out there. It's publicly available. And this is just the opinions of a content creator discussing with other content creators what they might think. I have no idea if this is real or not. But as an opinion, a walking opinion that I'm just throwing out there, there's a lot of rituals and ceremonies that are produced. And when they say her death is irreversible, she's trapped, I'm just throwing an opinion out there that can mean that the body's done and that her spirit, her soul is trapped wherever she is. They're able to transfer consciousness. Transhumanism is huge. It's a big thing that they're trying to, the elites, the people, the 1%er are trying to push forward. An ability to eliminate death so they can transfer their mind and consciousness in either a younger body or something more rejuvenated, a machine, an android, a cyborg, whatever have you. Unfortunately, they got caught on the hot mic saying these things, and people that know, if you know, you know more or less what they're talking about. But again, this is just an opinion for entertainment purposes. I'm really interested to think what you guys think about this whole thing.
Okay, I don't know if my phone will pick this up or not, but I've been outside for like 15 minutes and the thunder sounds bizarre. Like now what is that? I'm a 7th generation Floridian, and I have never heard thunder like that. What is that?
Have you ever questioned our sun lately? That there is something weird going on? Geji, Sama, and I come up with this discussion and we talked about it yesterday. You hear the news, right? About sun flares, sunstorms, and so on. Do you think it's real? Or is this another lie? If you get the concept of every beauty shown, there is madness and deceive behind curtains. Let's just say, for example, the Northern Lights. And a lot of people capture this beauty. But the reason behind it is not that pretty. Religious people may call it under the throne of God. Who knows? Spiritual people call it an infinite energy. The reason behind these Northern Lights may be because we are having two suns. One real and local, one fake and plasma. Now let's cut the bullshit about this narcissistic astronaut. China released an artificial sun. Yeah, and there's a lot of people have noticed it. Everyone noticed it. Before, we still have sun gazing. We can see the sun and not hurting our eyes. But right now, you cannot even look at it for just 1 second. And these two suns are coexisting because NASA using this sun simulator. And you've probably seen this photo, right? That they called, quote-unquote, James Webb Telescope on our real local sun, just to magnify the intensity of the fake sun. As I told you before, it's all energy source. These two suns, the fake one and the real one, are like two magnets, pushing and pulling. That causes negative energy, and it affects the ionosphere, and that won't be good at all. There is something going on in our skies, and these people doesn't want you to know. And this is also the things that I told you about, that there is a weird things going on, or things might happen. There is no sun flares. This is all made up. Our real sun, that's local, is just chilling up, giving you source of energy and light. This is the reason why they want to ban TikTok, they want to ban the Bible. These people doesn't want you to discover the secret of the universe, that it's all written on our scriptures. Maybe, just maybe, our real sun, real moon, and this fake sun is all plasma, just like what they call planets. It might be plasma and represents our soul system, not solar system. It's like the fourth state of matter. And these emit too much energy. Like the amount of power that comes from a plasma, these two suns might be a plasma, pushing and pulling each other from magnetic forces. And it's weakening our electromagnetic field and causing these northern lights to spread around north. You've probably seen the photos like this, right? This is the patent for Sun Simulator. This is the reflection coming off of the sun from a high altitude weather balloon. It looks so similar, yeah? Similar to James Webb Telescope. This telescope is actually a sun simulator. Again, this NASA doesn't need telescopes because they edit CGI photos. This fake sun is dangerous. This claims that it is 5 times hotter than our real sun, achieving temperature of 158 million degrees Fahrenheit just for 17 minutes. And all of this mimics the real sun, pretending to produce clean energy. This is their dream, to create a nuclear fusion. This involves fusing hydrogen atoms into helium just to create this mimic fake sun. A Ptolemaic-designed superheat plasma to replicate stellar conditions. And all of this, it's because of your money. It's all because of money. There's nothing good going on with playing with nature, especially playing with God. They fake the rain, they fake the cloud, they fake going to space, they fake the planets. What else they are faking? There is something going on in space, going and coming, that it's not human like us. And this is the thing that they are hiding from us. So if you want to be a great liar, be an astronaut.
Have you ever seen the sun turn on and off?
Change up, do that to my game, little bitch, I can't. Yeah, thing talk, nigga, reef my chain, shit go bang. Yeah, came up, I had to change my way, cause that shit was lame. Yeah, same stuff.
What's going on, everybody? Today's a sad day. Today's a really bad day for humanity and the rest of the world. And I'm sorry to have to tell you this, and I'm probably going to be the only one to tell you this, but even though we were all celebrating the victory that the World Pandemic Health Treaty had failed at the 77th World Health Assembly, the reality is that that was just a bait and switch to make us feel okay, and behind the scenes, every country around the world has secretly adopted all new amendments to the international health regulations that apply to every single country. What this means is the same exact things that were in the World Health Organization Pandemic Treaty are now part of the international health regulations for each individual country. This means that your government can impose the exact same measures as the WHO pandemic treaty without having to go to the WHO. That means they gave each individual's country their own power to implement these amendments. And I'm going to send you a list of the amendments that they've implemented, and it's just as bad as you think. If you're going to want to leave your country, you're going to have to be mandatorily vaccinated. They even say they can force gene therapy on you and all types of other scary shit. It's just as bad as the WHO pandemic treaty, only now they don't have to go to the World Health Organization to implement it. Each country now has the power to do this to you. So this is just another big bait and switch and another stab in the back. And even more reason why now, if you're going to want to freely travel around the world, you're going to need to get passports and residencies in different places, or you're going to have to be stuck where you are, or have to get fake papers, etc. This is a new world, and it's not a good world. And when we thought we won, we really lost this battle, guys.
If you can into that cloud.
Look, look. Okay, so, look, listen to me. I'm sitting in my house, right? You see me make a video of somebody or something in the sun. It's a clear day.
I see it. It is so pretty.
What is it? I remind you all, right? Don't keep too much of meditation on what's going on up there. You just take a peek. I'm sorry.
You get the
Go up to pray then. Too late to pray. Just a second, please. Once the map forms, it's too late to pray. That's the end of everything, as I said before inside. That's the end. You ain't got no chance more to get nothing right.
Yeah, if you can into that cloud.
Look, look. Look on his phone. Look. Look on his phone. Look.
I see it. You gotta put your glasses back on there.
Look. Oh, it's bright now.
It's bright now. It's a serious sign, brother. It's a serious.
The third world is not poor. You don't go to poor countries to make money.
It really is that simple, right? If a country has a lot of valuable resources, that's a wealthy country. If that country has a lot of poor people, it means that the wealth from those resources is being stolen. If Western corporations are utilizing that wealth to stimulate Western economies, it means that the Western world is stealing wealth from developing countries, and that's why the people there are poor. So don't be surprised when this status quo creates a situation where poor people from wealthy countries have to migrate to poor countries with wealthy people to avoid living in the poverty that we created for them.
A projector works by casting light onto a surface, usually a flat, white one, to create an image. The light from the projector shines through lenses and onto the screen or wall, producing a clear picture that viewers can see. Imagine the sun as a massive natural projector. When it's bright and sunny, you can see everything clearly because the sunlight illuminates the landscape. However, when clouds cover the sun, the light gets disrupted and shadows appear, just like how a projector can get interrupted. Now, let's visualize a movie being projected onto the sky. The sky would act like a huge screen. If birds or a plane flies through the light beam from the projector, they would break the flow of the light, creating disruptions. You would see the birds or plane pass through the image, just like how clouds disrupt sunlight, revealing the actual sky behind it. So, if you ever watch a movie projected on the sky and see birds or a plane fly right through it, that's because it's a projector creating the image you're looking at. Just like with any other projector, interruptions in the light make gaps where you can see through to what's behind.
Then I saw the Scientology building. It was like right where I parked my car at, and I was like, I wonder what's inside. So I got some spy cameras, and I like went in there and like filmed all their like brainwashing. My goal was actually, I was like, how high can I get in Scientology without spending like a single dollar, you know? Because it costs like millions of dollars to make it to the top, and I was like, and I made it all the way to the Sea Org, which is the highest rank in Scientology, and then they kicked me out the next day. But and then they sued me for like $1 million. But
how did that go?
Well, I made my own religion called Scientology Sucks. If you look at the IRS.com, you can actually see my like religion's a legitimate religion. And because they were getting me for like defamation or whatever, and it's like
allegedly.
No, they were suing me for hate speech and defamation is what they were saying. Now that I have my religion, it's no longer defamation. It's like freedom of religion, I guess, because like I believe that Scientology sucks. So by them suing me for what I believe in, now they're discriminating me against my religion. So that's how the lawsuit turned out, I guess.
So did you lose $1 million?
No, the detectives just like dropped the case.
Okay.
This is a map of the 11-dash line, issued in 1947 by the Republic of China. It went through some political negotiations, and by the time the communist forces took over mainland China, it had been revised into the 9-dash line. Since then, the map has been a source of tension. Beijing claims the demarcation line as its own, covering almost the entire South China Sea and overlapping with the territorial claims of the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Vietnam. But this isn't just a local dispute. The US Navy regularly patrols the area and says it wants to maintain the freedom of navigation. China doesn't buy a word of it and is building its military installations in the vicinity. For years on end, that was the stalemate.
You guys want to hear something terrifying? The Prophecy of the Popes.
Oh boy.
This book in the Vatican archives predicted every single pope from 1143 all the way to our current pope. But the scary thing is, after Pope Francis, the last one, it just says Judgment Day.
Oh gosh.
It literally ends after Pope Francis? Yes. The creepiest thing, inside St. Paul's Basilica, bordering the whole inner sanctuary, is a picture of every single pope. But what's weird is that there's only a certain amount of markers where you can put a picture. There's one left after Pope Francis. They have always said once that last slot is filled, it will be the end of the world. What he predicted, the time it took to go from the first pope that he wrote about to the halfway mark was 422 years. He's saying from the middle one to the end, another 422 years will be the end of the world. If you do 422 from the middle pope, which was 1585, that year is 2027.
Dang!
It's even weirder. Pope John the 23rd, he said that the end of the world would happen 2,000 years plus Christ's life. So that adds up to 2027 as well.
Hey, if you're still here, please do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe button so this video gets recommended to other people. Thanks.
You've been sitting here for over 3 hours, and I have you know the entire country is demanding you resign and demanding that you be fired if you do not resign. Things are not going well for you. You need to answer the questions. Was there a protective intelligence team, and what technical resources were utilized for that event, specifically drone or helicopter assets?
There were a number of technical assets that were deployed for that event.
and there was a protective intelligence team that was assigned to that event.
Why was Crooks able to fly a drone over the entire area the day of the rally and the day of his assassination attempt?
To my knowledge, he did not fly the drone over the entire area.
How did he fly a drone over the area, period? Any part of the area?
Again, I would have to go back and check the timeline of when that took place and when the event...
Why didn't you bring the timeline with you today to answer our questions?
I don't have all of the answers on the timelines based on the criminal investigation.
Were you not prepared today to answer our questions?
I am prepared to answer the questions based on the information and wanted to be able to provide.
Do you have a timeline do you have a timeline at all from any of the day?
I have a timeline that does not have specifics.
That's shocking. That is absolutely unacceptable. That means you are a failure at your job. Let's talk about things that are prohibited in Trump rallies. And I've been to a lot of Trump rallies. Backpacks and bags. Bicycles, firearms, any type of weapon, or any other item determined to be a potential safety hazard, like a rangefinder would be one. At 5:10, Crooks is first observed by one of the snipers, AGR Sniper 1, at the building. 5:10, President Trump was shot in the face at 6:11 p.m. 5:28, AGR Sniper 1 takes a picture of a bicycle and 2 bags. Those belong to Crooks. 5:32, AGR Sniper 1 spots Crooks looking at his phone and using a rangefinder. 5:55, Butler ESU Command confirms receipt of photos and states they have been relayed on. 6:05 p.m., AGR Sniper 1 later communicates that Crooks is seen moving northeast in direction of Sheetz and that Crooks has a backpack. 2 minutes before the shooting, while President Trump has been allowed to take the stage, people see Crooks laying on his stomach in a sniper position on the roof, and they're yelling he has a gun, and they are trying to alert law enforcement and Secret Service. Why was Crooks not shot by the snipers? Why was he allowed to be there?
As soon as the individual was identified as a threat, they were...
No. What do you consider to be a threat? A man with a gun laying in a sniper position, a man that had a backpack, a man that had a bicycle, a man that had a rangefinder. At what point is he determined a threat?
An individual with a backpack is not a threat. An individual with a rangefinder is not a threat.
What about a man laying on a building that has direct line of sight of President Trump with a gun that people are screaming and pointing out? Is that a threat, Ms. Cheadle?
Once that individual was identified, they were neutralized.
No, they were neutralized. Crooks was neutralized after he shot President Trump in the face, Ms. Cheadle. Is he only a threat once he fires the weapon?
As soon as the counter sniper identified that individual, they were able to neutralize them.
How were people in the crowd? Okay, then let's just take it this way. People under your command did not consider him to be a threat, yet people in the crowd knew he had a gun and considered him to be a threat. That means that you are a complete failure as the director of the Secret Service, that people under your command don't perceive a man laying on a roof with direct line to the president with a gun. They don't perceive that to be a threat, yet the people in the crowd do. How is that possible?
That's the last question, but please answer the question, Ms. Director.
I'm not certain at this time how the information from the people in the crowd was relayed to any law enforcement personnel.
No, you knew, that everyone knew. The people there knew that there was a danger. They knew there was a threat to President Trump, and it was allowed to happen. Was there a stand-down order, Ms. Cheadle? Was there a conspiracy to kill President Trump?
Absolutely not.
Then how did this happen? And why are you still sitting here not turning in your letter of resignation?
Last question, but please answer, and then I'll recognize Ms. Presley. Please answer that question.
That is what we are investigating to determine.
We're waiting for your letter. We are waiting for your letter of resignation, and you really need to consider doing that before you leave today.
What's bizarre is she's trying to frame herself as Miss Black Lives Matter, when in reality, Kamala Harris was the queen of mass incarceration. Kevin Cooper was hours away from receiving lethal injection. Hours away from it. His lawyers asked that DNA evidence be acquired in order to make sure he was actually guilty of the crime. And Kamala Harris's office tried to prevent DNA evidence from being acquired. They wanted Kevin Cooper to be executed, but the governor of California disagreed. They acquired DNA evidence, and the execution was stopped. The New York Times tells us that she feels really bad about it, for whatever that means. And people can also recall that while she was head of the California State Attorney General's office, over 1,000 people were locked up for smoking marijuana. She presided over jailing a lot of people. And on top of that, the drug labs in the state of California that were being used by the police were turning up false positive results. And yet, Kamala Harris's office did not tell the defense attorneys or the judges about this. They knew that the drug labs were turning over false positives, and people went to prison because her office concealed that their drug labs were turning up false positives. And another thing about Kamala Harris, I don't know if people saw, but there's a video of Kamala Harris where she's bragging about how she jailed the parents of children who were truant from school.
I would not be standing here were it not for the education I received. And I know many of us will say the same thing. And I believe a child going without an education is tantamount to a crime. So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy. Well, this was a little controversial in San Francisco. And frankly, my staff went bananas. They were very concerned because we didn't know at the time whether I was going to have an opponent in my re-election race. But I said, look, I'm done. This is a serious issue, and I've got a little political capital, and I'm going to spend some of it.
Have you seen the clip? And she gets up there, and it's the same kind of thing. She's giggling. Yes, I had the idea that we could lock up parents who are truant from school. You know, I wouldn't be anywhere in my life if it weren't for my education, and so not giving a child their education is a crime, and so I jailed parents, and she's giggling about it. It's just so great. And, you know, I see so much in U.S. media. They like to trivialize incarceration. There's so many shows on Netflix and all of that where it ends towards the end where someone goes to jail, but it's part of the happy ending. It's okay. And they don't seem to realize what that means. You know, when one member of a family, when a father or a mother goes to prison, or a brother or a sister, it hurts the entire family. And when Kamala Harris is up there giggling about, oh, you know, I locked up these parents because their kids weren't in school. You know, yeah, kids need to be in school. If kids aren't getting to school, it's a problem. But the worst thing you could do is then throw their parents in jail. That's not going to help the situation in any conceivable way. But when she's joking about it, and she's laughing about it, Kamala Harris, she says, what did she say? She said, well, I wouldn't be anywhere if it wasn't for my education. It's about her. The big line when she was calling out Joe Biden, when she was trying to contend with Joe Biden in the presidential election, what did she shout at Joe Biden? She shouted, that little girl was me!
You know, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
And then her campaign started churning out T-shirts with the face of 10-year-old Kamala Harris on them. Do you remember this? Yeah. It's almost like she wants us to vote for her because she was once a 10-year-old child. I mean, that's what it sounds like. What's particularly interesting is, you know, you remember when Barack Obama was running for president. We knew everything about Barack Obama. We knew all about Barack Obama's pastor. We knew about Barack Obama's father from Kenya. We knew the school he went to in Indonesia. But Kamala Harris, barely anybody knows anything about Kamala Harris. Well, Kamala Harris's mother, who's now deceased, was from India, was a cancer researcher. And Kamala Harris's father, Donald Harris, was a Marxist economist, and is a Marxist economist, a professor at Stanford University. He was an advisor to the government of Michael Manley in Jamaica, and he and Kamala are estranged from one another. He did not attend Kamala's inauguration as vice president. They're not on good speaking terms. But the more you look at it, it's very clear that Kamala Harris sees herself as a victim. The way Kamala Harris speaks, the world has been unfair to her. And she blames Donald Harris for that to some degree or other. We don't know why. We also, there's rumors, we don't really know what happened when she was in Quebec. We just know she never talks about the years that she spent in Quebec. But Kamala Harris thinks that she is a victim. And she wants the whole world to know that that little girl was her. And she wants vengeance. And she wants to make people pay. And she wanted to make Kevin Cooper pay. And she wanted to make those parents pay. That's what leftism is if it's stripped of economics. If it's stripped of class struggle, if it's stripped of a desire to have the people rise up and control the means of production, if it's just anger, if it's just revenge, it's just a call for destruction, a call for rebellion, that's what Kamala Harris is. Kamala Harris, she's very much a guillotine meme. That's what she is. It's the glorification of punishment, a desire for revenge, a desire for destruction. And that if you look at the history of socialism around the world, the strength of socialism wasn't the guillotines, it wasn't the firing squads, it wasn't the persecution. That's not what people remember the strength of socialism being. They just did a poll. 75% of Russians say that the Soviet Union was the best time in their history, but they're not thinking that because of executions. This was from a PBS documentary. They interviewed a woman named Tatiana Fedorova.
Stalin set a task. Build this or build that. And thanks to the fact that people trusted him and this enthusiasm of young people, it was possible. Remember, this was a country where people were illiterate, lived in virtual darkness, wore birch bark shoes. Even now, I think it's like something out of a fairy tale. How is it possible at one of the most difficult times to raise these great construction sites? It was only possible through the unity of the people and the love of the people for their idol.
And the reason Stalin remains wildly popular in Russia, it's not because he executed people, it's because he mobilized them to build that country up from nothing. This was a country... He built some of the world's largest power plants, he wiped out illiteracy, and he built a modern industrial country. He raised millions of people up out of poverty. And then they fought off the Nazi invaders, and then they rebuilt the country again, and a few years later they were the first country in outer space. And the strength of socialism was not that it punished people and that it persecuted people, but rather that it enabled people to go out and build and construct. I've said to many people, I'm not a socialist because I want to destroy America. I'm a socialist because I want to save America. And we have to save America from the horrors that are being unfolded by an irrational system where profits come before people. I want to save America. I want to build a better world. If all the apparatus they've created for destroying people, for imprisoning people, for breaking people psychologically, could be utilized to build and to construct. If popular power were put in control of the means of production and control of the state apparatus of the United States, we could build something very, very beautiful.
They want you to be mad at Russia and China instead of the looters that are sitting not very far from here off Wall Street, who are actively getting bailouts in the billions, arguably even in the trillions, for their gambling debts. That's what we're here against, and that's why we're making a stand for freedom of speech, because they're going after the movement and anyone who stands against the imperialists, because they know our real threat and that's rising. They know we authentically represent the American people. They know that the American people are ready for a change and ready for an end to the wars. And that's why they're cracking down on our First Amendment. They're cracking down on our Fourth Amendment. They're cracking down on all the civil liberties we know and love.
Y'all remember that time just a couple of days ago that NASA told us that everything was fine in space, and that audio recording that was really strange that we were hearing off of their live YouTube video was just a simulation? But then yesterday they come and say that they canceled the spacewalk, where before the launch for Boeing there was a leak, and then they ended up launching and we found out there's now 5 small helium leaks going on. Here, let me play you the audio from there, and you're gonna sit there and say, is it really a simulation, when it sits there and says on how the woman was stuck on the road and unable to assist them any further, you know, because that sounds so much like a simulation.
Commander back in his suit, get it sealed and step into procedure 5.180 for suited hyperbaric treatment. Section 3 for oxygen post-splashdown. If you're on this call, how much oxygen do we have remaining in minutes? I am currently stuck in traffic. I can, while we don't have other flight surgeons on call, while I am stuck in traffic, I can reach out to see if there's anyone who can get.
So they are due to return on Tuesday. We'll be watching very closely. Everyone, take care. God bless.
A lot of people lately have been under the impression that UFOs are cloaking themselves as clouds or hiding inside of clouds. I've covered a few videos like this already, but take a look at this new clip captured in May 2024. A man is filming the sky over a beautiful lake view and suddenly this happens. It appears as if something literally explodes out of this cloud. It happens so fast that no object could be seen exiting the cloud. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been around for quite some time and clouds don't just explode like this on their own. When is the last time you saw a cloud in the sky doing this? Out of nowhere, no explanation. So what gives? What do you think is going on here? Maybe Jordan Peele was onto something when he made the movie Nope.
You know, back before life hacks were a thing, the older blue-collar guys, they just called everything common knowledge. And nowadays, these big companies are just making a buttload of money off of everybody's ignorance, wanting to sell you this new gizmo or gadget or gimmick. And the biggest problem is that these new gizmos, gadgets, and gimmicks aren't nearly as good as the original life hacks.
Our next question is by Marina Abramovic in New York.
I was just speaking about her today. I am obsessed with this woman. She is so incredible.
I met Lady Gaga personally. I knew about her like everybody else. That this is this young, outrageous girl, wears strange clothes. She's into extremes, she's experimental, and finally when I met her, and she came really very humble to my house and asked me if I can teach her, I started really changing my opinion about her entirely. I found somebody who really is serious, who really wants to learn and find out about himself, how much he can push her mental, physical limits. We made this workshop in the woods. And she was such a good student. She never cheated. She really went much farther than I asked her for. And really, I learned that I started having a huge respect for her. I believe that art of the future is art without objects. It's just pure transmission of energy between the viewer and artist. To me, mixed reality is this answer. I really want viewer to be with me in space and here and now. The life is dealing with what is going to stay after I'm not there anymore. And I can face myself, and that's a frightening experience. Really like you facing your own ghost. There is always this great idea of immortality. Once you die, the work will never die because the work of art can continue. In performance, the piece is only in the memory of the audience and nowhere else. Here, I am kept forever.
The island is uninhabitable, but it's a tax haven.
And you can pause the screen and read this, because I really want you to pay attention to the imports that is coming in.
Both of these images show water temperature anomalies. This image shows the anomalies from the year of Hurricane Katrina. This one shows this year. 90% of the hurricane-generating regions are the hottest they've ever been. Hotter water means larger hurricanes and more impactful storms. This year is going to be bad.
Y'all, it's happening again. Watch. That dot is Bouvet Island.
Uns noch mal kleiner. Gehen unsere Anomalien los. So, also wenn ihr mich fragt, sind diese Anomalien keine natürlichen Anomalien Und es sind auch keine Softwarefehler, wie es immer uns schön gepredigt worden ist. Nein, Softwarefehler ist ja nun inzwischen ausgeschlossen, da es ja sehr, sehr oft vorkommt.
It's important because I'm going to show you even more down the line. Okay? Now this is the new guy now. No, the one that died before her. Look at the other king. Both bow down to the real king. Why? Ask yourself why the crown of London come and bow down to the real king. Why? There's both of them there. There's the queen and the king. Both bow down to the real king. Why? They know the truth. There's the difference between me and you and them and us. We on the outside, we see things the way Hollywood make us see it. And the propaganda is so strong to us, we thinking that everything goes the way we see it. Oh, she's the queen, man. Look how they running stuff. Yeah, she can do. No. When it comes to these folks, when it comes to these circles, these families, there's hierarchies. They know who to deal with, how to deal with. Selassie is the descendant of the Medicis, the real power. Okay? Selassie is the descendant of the Yeshua, the people that bring religion into play. Because Wu still have the publishing of the Bible. The Queen from Wu, King Henry, passing it down to King James. So this is where she knows she come from. These people. That's why she's following protocol to bow down to real power. Okay? This is the truth. Now let me show you even more so you understand what you are witness here. Okay? What you're witness here, they are cousins. Selassie and Queen Elizabeth are cousins. When you heard about Mussolini was going to war with Selassie, it was because they try to retrieve artifacts that still stay intact in Ethiopia. To be exact, they were trying to get the oldest Bible in many.
And look at this one. Look at how much vegetation grew up. It's 30 feet in the air. I mean, all the way up. Meaning it was unattended for however many years. There's another quote-unquote construction job. It's just a bunch of scaffolds put in front of the building to repair it. It's not building it. This is just, you can see all of the building is already there. This is in front of the quote-unquote exhibit, the art exhibit center. They want us to believe this is an art exhibit. This is pure iron. That is pure cast iron. That is not hollow. That is 100% metal. All the way through. The copper in the middle. You can see the copper aging right here. That's the bearing. Bolts. That's where a pin would go, cotter pin. This is some sort of drill, Archimedes screw with the spring at the end. That is insane. There's rings at the end, those are bushings. Or it's a game of some sort. I have no idea. But they say this is art. That is pure iron and copper. It's been there for years, it's buried under a foot of dirt. Roots have grown in and around it. It's been there for so long. this giant tree is growing into it. This is not an art exhibit. There's a pulley of some sort. Look at that. Pure copper. They say these were powder grinding wheels used by the Confederacy to grind gunpowder at Augusta, Georgia between the 1860s and in the 1860s. They were made in Woolwich, England and shipped here. Those were shipped here overseas to Nashville, Tennessee. They were exhibited at the Tennessee Centennial Exposition in 1897. So this is some of the stuff we found here that we exhibited. They did not build any of this. They did not ship this stuff from overseas. It was already here. And that's what the World Fairs were for, is to make it look like we did all this ourselves. We found these things. There's no machine today without having a crane that could lift this right here.
You know how you actually eat the rich? You know, the kind of people that run BlackRock, the kind of people that run Boeing. These kind of people speak one language, and that language is money. So if you actually want the ruling class to listen to what you're saying, you need to hit them where it hurts. And it's not in their bank account. It's in their brokerage accounts. The top 1% own more than 53% of the stock wealth in America. People like this don't keep their money in a bank account. They keep it in assets like stocks, bonds, property, and all sorts of other shit. These are the people responsible for the destruction of the middle class, for your wealth going down, for your grocery prices going up, for your jobs going away. And to a lot of normal people, the stock market seems like this separate thing that doesn't affect your life. But that is not true. Whether or not the stock market affects your life, because you may or may not be invested in it, the stock market affects the ruling class's life. And the ruling class use the manipulated, corrupt stock market to continually siphon wealth out of the bottom of America up into their bank accounts. And they do this by giving their money to their buddies that use all kinds of complex financial fuckery to manipulate markets, to cheat, to insider trade. And they let the politicians and the regulators in on the gains so that the whole wheel keeps on turning. Everyone just looks the other way. That's why what is happening with GameStop matters to everyone, whether or not you're invested in GameStop, whether or not you care about the stock market. What is going on with GameStop right now and for the last 3 years is regular people using their corrupt rules against them because they got caught with their pee-pee in the grinder. And I'm sorry, but if you're going to cheat regular people out of their money every single day for decades, you can't whine when we use the exact same market mechanics that you use to steal our money and our livelihoods to win a trade. It's not our fault if you YOLO'd so much money into the other side of that trade that you're going to go bankrupt if you lose. It's not our fault if the banks have been gambling behind the scenes and are going to go under if they lose. Not my job to prop up criminal financial institutions. Sorry. If you didn't want the market to be irrational, maybe you shouldn't have made it legal to manipulate it. I mean, we're all just playing by the rules that you guys set up. So just remember, whether or not you're invested in GameStop right now, there are two teams. One team is composed of hundreds of thousands of regular investors that just want to do well by their families and give a big fuck you to the managerial class that's been screwing everybody over. And the other side is all the bankers and politicians and regulators that have been profiting off of your demise since before you were born, and doing Lord knows what else with all that extra money they're accruing. So just remember, the media is going to try to paint all these regular, hardworking people as greedy, meme stock investors that are uneducated and Lord knows what, so they can look out for their banker bros that cut their checks. Don't fall for it. All they want is for things to go back to normal so they can keep taking your money and flying to private islands in the Bahamas with it.
Alright y'all, here's a video I wanted to show you guys. It's a time lapse of the sun and the moon rising and setting. I was going to tell you everything what's going on, like the instruments, the background, what's being used, but something caught my attention and threw me off. I had to redo my notes because everything clicked after seeing it. So I want you to guys look for that thing that I saw, and if you saw it, comment down below and say yes, I saw it, or just put yes. and then I'll explain more on the next video, which is going to be uploaded probably 3 hours from now. You guys are going to be blown away. There's a lot to it. There's more than we think the sun simulator is, right? There's more that we haven't seen, that I covered, that I've seen. Like I went, I got some documents for you guys too, to show you guys. But pay attention to everything. Pay attention to the environment, pay attention to the top, wherever the sun and the moon's going. Pay attention to the orbs, pay attention to the lens flare. The lens flare, y'all, is going to show you what's really going on behind that bright light. All right, the lens flare is not what you guys think. It's not what we've been taught. It's different. They say this for us not to think that's what's going on. Does that make sense? They switched it on us. All right, so I'm going to leave the rest of the video for you guys. Like I said, comment down below, and then I'll come up with the video in a few hours with the answers. All right, so enjoy. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off this video for you guys, since they muted my other one. So what you're seeing, that bright light y'all seeing right now, that is the lensing system. All right, what that does, it gives more light to the sun, and, you know, brightens up the sky and hides the simulator so we don't see it. But anyways, I'll talk about that later. I want you guys to focus on this. Check out that moon. All right, look at the top right. Let me know if you see it. Right, I know you guys see it. It's right there. All right, it's gonna pull it up. What do you think that is? I know what it is, but I'm not gonna say right now because I want to know what you guys are gonna say. So look, it just pulled it up in space, right? Or the stratosphere. And I know exactly what it is, because like once I saw that, I went looking for it and then started doing my research, and damn, it all fits. But now again, here's the sun simulator, right? That big ass bright light is just the lensing system, aka Einstein ring. I'm gonna call it that because that's originally what it was supposed to be called until something happened. So the sun simulator is in the middle. All right, now it's probably getting ready. You know, it's launching. That's why we can't see it. It's gonna go up, and then all these stuff around the sun simulator is like shooting out like lasers, like laser beams. Now, do you guys see that? Do you see that on the right side? Like something's grabbing onto it, like another one on the bottom. It's like, did you see that? I know you guys saw that. Please tell me you guys saw that. Hopefully I'm not tripping, but y'all saw that, right? If you did it, rewind it and watch. Pay attention to that right corner. But I think the video is about to be up. But I'll talk about more on the next video. And when I came up, it's going to make sense to all of you guys. See, look at that. And the bottom, something just fucking flew up there. Man, I'll see you guys in the next video.
Here's some more positive news. I just found an interview from the Prime Minister of the country that shall not be spoken, saying something really interesting, but I'm sure it's just a coincidence, just like the last one. Because, of course, they wouldn't do this. I mean, listen to what he says, and why would they do this? Just a coincidence. Don't anyone connect the dots, please. Just watch the video.
With the click of a button, you can bring down nations to their knees very rapidly, if you so desire. The future belongs to those who can seize this change. We are positioned right at the cusp of this change, right at the center of this change. We can take it, and we are. It's changing us. It's giving us powers and prowess that we never had before. And cyber is a real domain of power. It's a new kind of warfare, very different from what we've seen before. I'm talking about the capacity, and it's not imaginary, it's not futuristic, and it's not exaggerated.
This card on the left, charismatic leader. It looks like Donald Trump, right? This is Donald Trump. Now, the one on the right, I've been seeing forever and thinking, man, that also really looks like Donald Trump. And it's called Enough is Enough. Let's look deeper at the Enough is Enough cards. Here's the picture of Trump pumping his fist at the rally, overlaid with the card, and it matches perfectly. And then below that, the first sentence is, at any time, at any place, our snipers can drop you. Have a nice day. If this isn't being pulled out of demonic prophecy or the Akashic records, then nothing is.
You can't set something like that up. You can't.
This is the card game that predicted 9/11 and the Pentagon getting hit by a plane. Like, there's something supernatural going on here that is beyond coincidence.
Alright, that's it for today's session. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks again for showing up.